Rev up your engines!
I can't help but laugh at Joe Biden's farewell address where he says oligarchy is taking over America. Well, if anybody should know, he should know. Who do they think elected these people? The corporations, the rich. They gave them tons of money. Now he's warning about it. Well, gee, they're taking over. They're taking over. Yeah, well, they took over a long time ago. Taking campaign donations and make it that corporations can donate as much money as they want, not even tell people about it. Hey, they're giving this nonsense like he's the good guy trying to save us from everybody. What a bunch of nonsense. I would go back to the last great speech, which was Eisenhower. And Eisenhower made the speech where he said, beware the military-industrial complex, right? That they take over the country, money everywhere. He was the head of the Allied Army world. He knew all about, he was a four-star general. He knew all about the military-industrial complex, right? And rightfully so, he was warning about it. Here we got a guy leaving that got elected by that. And now he's saying, oh, hey, watch out, it's bad that the rich people are taking over. Hey, he's one of them. Of course, he should know about it, but he's warning us about people like him. It's too much, I mean, yeah, it's happening. There's no arguing that. But all their policies allow it to occur because they're giving them money to get what they want. And they're politicians. Bribery is supposed to be illegal, but if you give contributions, I guess, oh, that's legal. So, well, it's not. Technically, we're not bribing them. We're just giving them millions and millions of dollars because we like the guy, right? Come on now, let's live in the real world, people. Well, if you think you bought a vehicle that depreciated fast, let's hope you don't own one of these. Here's the 5 fastest depreciating trucks in the United States. And normally trucks hold their value, but coming in at number 5 of the worst 5 is the Ford F-150. After 60 months, it loses 37.9% of its value. Okay? As if that's not bad enough. Number 4 is the Chevy Silverado, which loses 39.2% of its value after 60 months. Number 3 is the Sierra 1500. That's close. It loses 38.1% after 60 months. The Ram 1500 is number 2 on losing the most money, and that loses 44% of its value after 60 months. And number 1 on the list, is the Nissan Titan, which loses 44.2% of its value after 60 months. Now, they didn't include oddball things, but these are the more commonly bought ones. The Nissan Titan, but it's only 0.2% more than the Chevys that are losing 44% instead of 44.2%. So it's really close there. They just lose money. One of the worst investments you can make is buying a new vehicle. That's why I tell people, buy a used one. There's many reasons people get rid of vehicles. Somebody dies. Somebody doesn't need a big truck. They're going to a smaller truck. Somebody's an old man and he hardly put any miles on his truck and now he can't see too well, so he can't drive anymore, and he's selling his truck. There's lots of deals buying used vehicles. You never get a deal buying a new one. You're always paying too much. Well, the Dodge Hellcat is proving to be a dismal failure so far. They got rid of the Hemi gas engines. That old idiot Tavares, who used to be the head of Stellantis that owns Chrysler and Dodge, it's now he's quit. He's gone, right? He left the sinking ship. He wasn't a very good captain. Well, now they're EVs, and it looks like nobody wants to buy the stupid things. Some of them I looked around at dealerships are being marked down as much as $24,000 over the asking price because people aren't buying them. Now, this shows kind of the stupidity of Chrysler Dodge when it was run by Tavares, because he doesn't know anything about Americans, and he should have known. Americans that want to drive Hellcats want a big V8 noisy car, makes a lot of noise, and is super fast. They don't want some quiet thing that doesn't make any noise. Most of the things that they want in these cars are a lot of noise, just like Harley Davidson really screwed up when they built their Harley Davidson electric motorcycle. Harley's electric motorcycle, the Live Wire, didn't prove to be too much of a live wire because in 2023, they only sold 660 of them worldwide, right? Well, for Chrysler, they are stuck. Dodge, whatever you want to call them. People don't want that type of vehicle. Now, most people don't want to buy a Hellcat anyways. They don't want some giant, loud, super fast thing that eats up gas like mad. It's insane. Insurance premiums because they're so fast, right? Real speed freaks want to buy these things. And they like noise. That's part of their deal is noise. They like the noise. I know guys, they'll like turn all their radio stereo systems off. They just want to hear the vehicle. They like the noise, right? They don't want some silent thing. So, yet another mistake by Stellantis. Now, what are they going to do? They got these electric vehicles vehicles that nobody wants to buy. And of course, if you know anything about electric motors, the faster they go, the less efficient they are. So people that buy these cars drive like maniacs. They're going to be plugging them in for a long time because they're going to use that electricity so fast. I drove a Tesla, and I drove it about as fast as you could drive it for about a mile. And it lost 4 miles of range on their range thing during that 1 mile I drove it. So that'll tell you. They're not going to go fast very far with those battery systems. Then they're going to take forever to recharge because the batteries are humongous to make them go that fast. Well, Toyota got caught being bad boys, and they have to pay $1.8 billion to the United States because they pleaded guilty for a fraud scheme. Now, what was this fraud? It isn't Toyota directly. They own a company called Hino, Hino. And they make diesel engines for big trucks and stuff. And this is another Dieselgate like the one with Volkswagen. They defrauded the pollution controls of these diesel engines selling in the United States, and now they got to pay a $1.8 billion fee. Now, as soon as I read this, I thought, wait a second, Toyota diesels? They really don't sell diesels in the United States. But their subsidiary, Hino, sells the diesel engines, and now they're being banned from selling diesel engines in the United States, I guess, the next 3 years or something. So, the story looks bad. Oh, Toyota's got to pay $1.8 billion for fraud. Well, it's just another one of these Dieselgate things, and it wasn't even engines they were building themselves. It was Hino that was selling them for big diesel trucks here in the United States. There's $1.8 billion that Toyota's got to pony over to the United States government. Now, will the government ever actually see this money? I don't know. Half the time they cut all kinds of deals like Volkswagen Dieselgate. They had to pay billions. But some of those billions went to building Electrify America charging stations that Volkswagen is now making money using to charge people's electric cars. So they forced Volkswagen to make money. Just like way back, they had a settlement against old Elon and Tesla, and they made him buy back a bunch of his stock that he sold, right? But they made him buy it back right before it went big, so they actually made him billions of dollars by forcing him to buy back a stock that later went up. So as I say, anything the government does, it's probably a screw up for the government and for us taxpayers because they don't seem to know what the heck they're doing. In this case, we'll find out maybe where this money actually goes, if it does actually go to that. Hardly anybody ever follows up. Whenever I can get this information, I always pass it on because I want people to see what actually is going on, not that magically all this money was just transferred, because very rarely does that ever happen. Well, according to a lawyer expert who deals with people getting speeding tickets, what do you think the right answer is when the police pull you over for speeding and say, do you know how fast you were going? Believe it or not, the best answer is, and you say these exact words, I believe I was going the speed limit. As a lawyer, so he knows the legalese. And you want to say exactly, I believe I was going the speed limit. You don't say I was, because then you might be lying to the police, right? And you don't say, oh yeah, I was going like a bat out of hell. You certainly don't want to say that. And you don't want to say, I have no idea what speed I was going. The best answer is, I believe I was going the speed limit. So you can say, honestly, I thought I was going the speed limit. And you might even say, well, the last time I looked at the speedometer, I was going the speed limit. Went down a hill and it went faster. I guess I didn't notice, or something like that. But this lawyer claims, and it's logical, I believe I was going the speed limit is the best thing to say. You're at risk of anything, of lying, because you said you believe. Maybe you had the wrong belief, right? And you certainly don't want to say, I know I was going the right speed limit, because odds are you weren't. Most of the time they're using radar guns, and the radar guns, as long as they're used correctly, are giving pretty accurate readings. Now realize, they can only really take a reading when they're sitting there and you're coming towards them. They can't shoot you while you're going away. That doesn't work. So it's always the guys in front of you that have to catch you with the speed, unless it's an airplane that's following you, and they don't use too many airplanes anymore. When I was younger, they used a lot of airplanes in straightaways where they had markings, and the plane could easily tell how fast you're going, and a cop on the ground would be in the same area, and they say, go pick up this red Buick or whatever it was speeding. But if you do get pulled over for speeding and ask you, do you know how fast you're going, said, I believe I was going the speed limit, it might get you out of trouble, and you might not even get a ticket if he believes that you're telling him the truth and it was just a little error because you were going downhill, or it just went a little bit faster. Then whatever you do, don't tell him you had it on cruise control, because then he'd know you knew you were going too fast. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, Remember to ring that bell.